So, am I getting better? Am I on the right track? Are my athletes on the right track, right? This is an important question to ask, and a good question to ask if you're either an athlete transitioning from high school to college or college freshman. You want to know, am I on the right track? Or if you're a coach that doesn't have much experience and you want to know, are your athletes on the right track? These are important markers and indicators to track whether or how your athletes are progressing, male and female. There's a couple things to keep in mind, particularly right now across country. It applies differently in track because all the distances remain the same distances, but the race distances across country, you're going from 5K to either 6K for the females, for the most part, or 8K, and in some cases 10K for the males. Okay? So, what are some of the things that you need to do? Well, first, there's a couple of things to realize as well. You could be a top athlete and coach, number one, but you may go into a program where you're not necessarily number one right off the bat. There's a transition. Generally, in high school, kids, for the most part, starting from scratch. In college, it's different. Most kids are established already and have experience running. So you're walking into a situation where you're going to be surrounded by kids who are mostly as good as you, in some cases better than you right now. So, and that's a great opportunity to take advantage of. But it can also be a little bit of a mental game too. Most people are used to being number one, and when they're not number one, it can make them think a little bit differently. And that's not necessarily a problem. It doesn't have to be a problem, but it's a good opportunity to take advantage of. Why? There's a couple of things. You got to get used to a few things. And obviously, a new class schedule. Classes are done differently. There's no really consistency in high school where it's like 8 to 3 or whatever it might be every single day. Practices afterward and whatnot. So different. College is different. Your classes are kind of fluctuating all over the place. And building it around your practice time is an important part of the scheduling for college. So, but there are a couple things you're going to get used to too. Number one, you're going to get used to training at a faster pace, whether it be runs, general tempos, thresholds, workouts, no matter what. You may be doing similar volume or a little bit higher volume now. So there are adjustment points that, as an athlete, you need to take into consideration. As coaches, and I'm speaking from 2 decades experience as a coach, that has to be factored in too. Your athletes need time to adapt to that, the faster pace and training, the higher volume, and getting used to racing longer distances. There's an adaptation period no matter what. And with your kids getting older and more experience and racing less most likely in college than they were in high school, particularly during cross country, that needs to be factored in too. So getting used to racing a little bit less, particularly during cross, training more, is a little bit of a different monster to get used to as well. But a couple other points too. Now, certain things to look for that I like to look for, and I encourage other coaches to as well, is en route. What I mean by that? Well, transitioning upward from 5K to 6K, 5K to 8K. Can I match the times that I ran last year, cross country and track, right? If you can, that's a sign you're having a pretty good adjustment to a freshman year in college. Or can I match my 5K en route to the 6K, en route to the 8K or the 10K? That's a sign that you're getting better too. Can I do more volume that I'm used to in terms of workouts at the same pace or with shorter recovery and still recover as well or recover even better? These are important progress points to monitor if you're an athlete, particularly if you're a coach. This is why journaling workouts, so you can go back and look and say, okay, he or she did better here with shorter workouts or higher volume, and they did well for this long. And this is where they start to kind of taper off and stop improving as much or started to take a step back a little bit. This is where coaching with the eyes is important, documenting what your athletes do. Because these are things, again, moving up in distance, getting used to a faster pace, potentially higher volume. And these are all points of progression that athletes need to have the opportunity to adapt to. Okay? Track is a little bit differently. They're just going to run faster for the same distance. But having a good template or a good base and a good platform for cross country helps them transition nicely over into track. Hopefully they can match what they do. Like generally in track, if you can match your 2 mile, right, as a college, or 3K as a college freshman as you did in high school, that's a good progression point. A great progression point is, can I do the same 2 mile en route to a 5K and run a similar pace than I did for 5K now? That's a huge progression point, right? Mile to 3K is a little bit different, but can you run the same mile? Can you run a little bit faster in the mile? And your longer distances and shorter distances improve as well. Progression pieces. We're talking about cross country right now. Can you match what you ran for 5K? Either just match it, or match it and continue to go for the longer distance. These are things to look out for as a coach. And again, adapting to the longer distances, checking in with your athletes. You guys doing all right? You gals doing all right? Feeling good? Are we recovering well? This is why, and one reason I think it's a great idea to race less in college, particularly since the distances are a little bit longer. You plug in more recovery time, and you allow your athletes to get used to the transition, particularly as a college freshman. The new college lifestyle, the new college schedule, right? Building it around, you may have classes after practice that you're not used to, right? So that, and you got time management becomes that much more important as well. Can I get my work done? Can I get my dinner done? Can I get my ice bath or whatever before classes? Do I have enough time to do it? And so on. And these are all important components of that. And that's an athlete's job. But if an athlete needs a coach's help, you ask that's where communication comes into play. You ask the coach for help, or an advisor for help to help manage your time appropriately and effectively in college. But progression points, again, these I think are really, really important to look for as a coach, to show a sign of progress in cross country, from the shorter distances to the longer distances. Again, am I matching what I did? Am I running this 5K run similar, or am I going through the 5K en route to 6K or 8K in the same times that I did last year through 5K? That's a huge progression point. It's a sign that you're improving, that your athletes are getting fitter, right? That they're in better shape, they're getting more experienced. And it's a sign of coaching well too. So I wanted to emphasize that today. Okay, we can elaborate this. I'm gonna do a live stream on this. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, please do yourself a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Okay. If you're a coach or an athlete and you want direct access to, I'm a USATF certified coach. I also coached at the high school, college, and post-collegiate level over the last 2 decades. And I was a former competitive runner myself, middle distance and distance. So, and you have full access to me. Either my email, blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com is my email. I got 400 plus videos here for free for you. So if you do subscribe, hit the notification button as well. I thank you for it. That also guarantees that you get everything as it comes in. So new videos, new content, and everything else. And live streams especially. You'll know exactly when live streams happen. And if you want direct access to me to ask me questions, and we can have a conversation about stuff. And questions tend to lead to more questions, which is good. So that's why I want to make myself available to you. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hit the thumbs up if you did. Have a great week. Have a great season. Trade hard, trade smart, and I'll see you next time.